Okay. Oh, DroidCam. DroidCam start. 1682. Nope. 192.168.2.221. 2.2.2.1. Oh, let's do this. You want to do a little announcement?
I have just one little announcement.
Go for it.
I'll let you do normal other announcements if there's anything else. But real quick, if anybody's interested in low voltage cabling technician, CAD engineer, the project management roles, that type of stuff, please see me. A company in town is looking to hire quite a few people. So any interest in pulling cable, running cable, networking, those types of things. I think it's a big data center going in somewhere, right? Quote unquote, right? I wasn't told exactly what the job is or where it's for, but Service Point is looking to hire, and I got a good contact there. So do let me know if you're looking. It is short-term contract. Yep. So he said short-term for them is like 6 months with the opportunity to be hired on. So that's about what it is. Any questions? Anybody interested just off the top of the head or knows somebody who's interested? Anybody else? Nobody else? All right. Well, he's looking for a lot of people. Cool. Yeah, that's it for me as far as announcements go. You got CodeCamp and all the other stuff, Jim?
I didn't have slides for that. Why don't you go ahead and talk to that, because my thing's not connecting here.
CodeCamp. CodeCamp is May 3rd. We are looking for speakers. The call for speakers is up. We can probably throw a slide up or a link up if anybody's interested in speaking at CodeCamp.
Is it Boise CodeCamp?
Boise CodeCamp. Yeah, go to boisecodecamp.com. Big button in the top corner of the screen says, I want to speak. So click on that, fill that out, submit a talk. We got 80 days left. Wait, no, CodeCamp is in 80 days. Call for speaker closes March 6th. So, please speak. We'll have lots of fun.
Who's been to a CodeCamp before? Anybody? Who spoke at a CodeCamp before? Anybody spoke? All right, we got a couple of you spoke at a CodeCamp before.
All right.
It's a great chance to get out there. You know what? I've spoken at a lot of CodeCamps, and I've had a few sessions that had like just a few people show up, and those end up being a lot of fun because you're just hanging out with somebody that's like into the same thing you are, and you're just talking about it. It's a blast. So you really can't go wrong. Just show up and share your passion and your knowledge.
That's great stuff. And then if you want to practice your CodeCamp talk, we are looking for a speaker next month for BSDG. So if you do that, please come see me or shoot us a message in Discord. That also being said, is anybody not a part of our Discord yet? And you should be, if not. But have Discord, want to join it, we'll throw up a QR code that you guys can scan at the end.
Is it linked from our bsdg.dev?
You know what? It might be. Yeah, our site's live as well. That's a new thing since last month. So,
Yep, here's
the Discord icon. That'll get you into our Discord. bsdg.dev. Also, that's an open source on GitHub if you want to contribute and make the website a little prettier than what it is. More than happy to accept a pull request. Cool. I think that's it.
I don't know. Oh, wait, here we go.
I love the getup.
Thank you.
And the socks.
Yes, I got the Star Trek socks on.
The socks really sell it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and I almost forgot. Now, I don't know if anybody knows the reference of the Shatner Turbo 2000.
Of course.
From Night Court. Let's see. Oh, I got my glasses on my forehead. Wait. Yep, that's right. Okay. There we go. Got the full.
You're living the glory days with that head full of luscious locks there.
You know what? I never really had luscious locks. Yes, there it is. Okay, cool. Aha. There we go. Okay, cool. Oh, this doesn't get bigger. Dagnabbit. All right, there we go. That's what I want. All right, snazzy. You know, it's crazy how much, no matter what I do to prepare things, it's always like, you just never know what's going to happen. I'm going to take this off because I'll get way too hot either way, and I'd rather not do it with the hair on. But I had it on backwards, too. There we go. That's the right way to put it on, I think. I don't know. Does that look better or worse?
Better.
Better? Okay.
The hair in your eye.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the way it's supposed to go. All right. So my name is Jim McKeeth, first of all. I've been involved in Boise Software Developers Group since back when it was called like 2 or 3 other things. Yeah, I'm talking about Meshtastic. How many of you have used Meshtastic before? A couple of you have. How many of you know what Meshtastic is before hearing about it today? Only a few more. Okay, so I don't know that I'm a Meshtastic expert, but I've been playing with it a lot, and we're going to do some stuff and walk through it. I have a handful of devices with me today, and I'll pass some of these around. Does anybody bring their laptop with them? I see a couple of laptops. So I'll pass these around. You guys can plug them into your laptop and connect to them and experiment with it as well. They're not terribly expensive. I think I got these 2 for $30 on Amazon. You can get them on AliExpress pretty cheap as well. There's a few different options, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, so one thing about me, I did professional improv comedy for 10 years, and part of that is just like going with whatever happens. So I love the interactive conversations. So if I'm talking about something, you're like, whoa, hold on, I'm not getting that. Ask a question, please, right away. You're not going to throw me off, all right? The worst thing that could happen is me just sit here and talk the whole time. That'll be a terrible session. So ask questions. If I do something wrong, let me know. If I'm typing things and it's not working, I'm like, what in the world? And you're like, dude, caps lock is on. That's great. Please tell me. It's all good. And with that, we're going to get started. Actually, I just started using slides.com. Does anybody use slides.com for slides? Okay. So it uses reveal.js, which is an open source platform for doing making presentations. And this is the editor for it that you pay. It has a subscription model, but I'm using this free. It's pretty cool. I like it. I'm probably going to subscribe to it because then you can do the export for offline, and then I'm going to be able to check it into GitHub and stuff like that. But there's some weird things I'm sure that'll come up. They'll be like, that's not what I expected to happen. Okay, like that right there, that moved. Anyway, agenda. Let's kind of walk through a few things about Meshtastic, and we're just going to go out of here. Okay. Oh, that's right. I was going to talk about history of communication. So I had this like big plan to go down all sorts of rabbit holes, and I went down different rabbit holes, and it wasn't exactly what I had planned, but it's going to be interesting either way. But reason I'm dressed up with Captain Kirk, there was an interesting thing that happened with when they're making, anybody here fans of Star Trek, the original series? Okay, a few people. Anybody seen other series of Star Trek? Okay, all right. So when Star Trek Enterprise came out, there was an article I read about how they were trying to make the communicators in Star Trek Enterprise. Now, in the original series, you see there's the communicator Kirk has, and then they did Next Generation where they had just little badges they just tapped, right? Little tiny things. And then they went to make the communicators for Enterprise, and they're like, You know, when we made them for Star Trek, they were kind of small. You know, it's crazy small how small they are. But now people have cell phones that are smaller than that, and sat phones that are smaller than that. So it's like we need to find a balance. So they actually made, even though Enterprise came out before Star Trek, they made the communicators smaller in order to make sense to the modern viewer, which I thought was kind of an interesting thing. So communication is just something that's always changing and evolving, and that says title text. That's probably not the first time that's going to happen. Okay, so Meshtastic. Now, when it comes to talking about technology, there's kind of two different ways to come at stuff. There's the benefit, right? What's it going to do for you? And then there's let's just talk about the technology because that's cool. I'm usually in this camp. I'm usually like, I don't care what I can do with it. I just want to understand this technology and figure out how it works. So, but I thought I would talk a little bit about why you might want to use Meshtastic. Now, for the couple of you that are here using it, maybe you can share some things. But it's kind of this. The idea is it's this long-range, low-power communication, so that you can have these devices that can be battery-powered or solar-powered that could be out in a way separated and be able to connect and send messages back and forth. I feel like, and maybe this is just me, but Idaho's got a very strong outdoorsy, self-reliance, off-the-grid ethos. I mean, even if you're living in town, you still kind of, want to have your emergency preparedness going on and all that stuff. So I feel like this is a really good topic for Idaho here. Now, a couple people use Meshtastic. What do you use it for? Are you in the same camp, just like, it sounds cool, I want to play with it?
I played around with it a little bit. I kind of haven't played around with it because I haven't gotten a lot of contacts. So it was kind of like at least maybe 6 months ago. It wasn't very dense, it seems like. So.
Okay. All right. Anybody else use Meshtastic? Anybody have like a specific use case in mind? They're like, oh my goodness, I got to go check this out because it's going to solve this problem.
There's an old project called Mesh Potato.
Mesh Potato. I've not heard of that one.
You use it out in the bush. You build networks through the jungle.
Oh, okay. I went to Shields today. Has anybody been to Shields, the new Shields sports store? First time I was there today, and I was just browsing around looking at all this stuff, and they had these bush cameras, cellular camera systems that you can like put on trees, trail cams that like take pictures of the animals as they're passing by, but they're cell powered, so they send it through the cellular network. And I was thinking, I wonder if that would be a good application for Meshtastic. So what does Meshtastic do? What niche does it fill? So I thought I'd compare it to some other communication technologies, and we could see where it fits. So it's open source, meaning that you don't have to buy. It's not attached to a particular vendor. You can you have different hardware options and end user customization options. So you have your family radio, walkie-talkie, CB, and you can load a custom Wi-Fi as well, custom firmware on your Wi-Fi, and of course tin can and string. Always a reliable system. Oops, wrong one. It's off the grid, meaning that you don't need any local infrastructure. So all you need is 2 nodes and you're good to go. So the number of these work for that as well. The Wi-Fi technically works off grid if you don't need internet. Right? So you can set up a Wi-Fi network and connect your devices to it, but they're not going to get access to internet without some infrastructure. It did include Starlink on there as a great off-grid solution because it doesn't use local infrastructure, it uses global infrastructure. Wrong button. So it's also decentralized peer-to-peer, and that means that you don't need any central hub. Where Starlink, you have to get, SpaceX has to give you an account. So you don't need that with that. Oh, the one device here in the middle that I included, these lights might be a little bright, huh? Let me turn this off. There we go. Probably easier to read. So this device here, I just discovered this when I was researching for this talk. Basically it's a commercial version of the Meshtastic. So if you're like, open source, I do not care about that. I just want to give someone money. Apparently that's an option. I've not used it. Anybody heard of this one before? Nope? Okay. As best I can tell, it's basically a commercial version of Meshtastic. So yeah, if we're going through this and you're like, man, I want to build me a decentralized mesh network, but I don't want to do any work myself, I want to just pay someone and have them give me a pre-built device, that's one you can go with. And then, mesh network. So mesh network. How many of you are familiar with a mesh network? Okay, so a few of you are. So mesh network is kind of this idea that each node in the network can repeat messages to other nodes. And so if you have two nodes that are far apart and another node in the middle, that node in the middle can then relay between the two nodes that are far apart. So if you're out of range, these two are out of range, the one in the middle can then connect them together. So here's, I thought would be interesting just to kind of look at some different ranges of these different technologies and such. So we have, that's interesting, that yellow-blue blink up there. Is that coming from, must be coming from the projector. Or is that just me? Can anybody else? Yep, still doing it, okay. So Bluetooth has got a range of 300 feet approximately, but it's low power, whereas Wi-Fi, it's got the same range, high power, and usually your bandwidth and your range is a limit or is a function of your frequency. So these are both at 2.4 gigahertz, thus they have the little shorter range. The 5G cell towers have a number of frequencies they go at, and the high frequencies are the really fast, really high bandwidth, but they're really short range, just like ridiculously short range. So that's kind of the trade-off there. Family radio systems, this would be like your unlicensed walkie-talkies. They're at about a 2-mile range, and they're down here in the megahertz, 400 megahertz. Your cell, so I had a hard time finding this one, again, because it has a large range of frequencies. About 3 miles seems to be the consensus for the max distance from a tower, and again, that's going to vary based on terrain and stuff like that. Ham radio, without repeaters, you get about a 5-mile range, although I've heard people using like the really low frequencies getting like just ridiculously long ranges. Like, anybody here into ham? Oh, okay. So what's the max range you've gotten with ham without repeaters?
HF is global on that band, 5 miles.
Yeah, okay. But you've used different bands and got more range?
Yeah, like HF, that'll go over the other side of the world and stuff. Depends on propagation and solar flares and all that stuff. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
I've never gotten into ham. It sounds so cool, just like the checking the weather to see how far range you're going to get. Just seems like a.
Some of it's like shortwave, like you can hear people in Japan, hear them talking or whatever. And some of it, that's more like local communication on those bands.
Yeah. This is the GMRS is the licensed version, essentially the licensed version of Family Radio. That's I can't remember what the acronym's for. It's got more range. And then LoRa down here at the bottom is very low power consumption, and the range varies quite a bit. From 1 to 6 miles is what I found is kind of the general recommendation, but apparently the current record holder is 205 miles. That's from one radio to another radio with ideal situation, perfect antenna is completely clear. Yeah, so, but the other thing is we have the data rate. Right? So even Bluetooth, which is less data than Wi-Fi, is 2 megabits per second, whereas LoRa is very low. It's in the 37 kilobits per second. Well, there's different configurations you can do for different, you're trading off speed and range for more bandwidth and back and forth. Okay, so Meshtastic, like I said, it's open source. It's all the code is GPL3. It's up on GitHub, the firmware, and the client libraries. It's decentralized mesh, and it uses AES 256 CTR, which I had to look CTR up. Anybody here a big encryption nerd like me, or bigger than me maybe? All right. So what CTR mean? You know? I had to look it up, so I didn't know either. Yep, by incrementing, or doesn't have to increment, but yeah, using a usually incremented counter. So it increments the counter each time so that the blocks change, right? Yep. Yeah, so but it is a private key cryptography instead of public key. So anybody here familiar with between private key and public key cryptography? Mostly? Okay. So it means you have to pre-share your keys. All right, so let's talk about setting up Meshtastic. Any questions on like what it is? Is anybody like, hold on, I'm in the wrong place? This was, okay. So the different components that make up a Meshtastic setup, the microcontroller, CPU, what's going to run the firmware. You have the firmware. You have a LoRa radio module, an antenna, which you always want to connect before powering it on because it could damage the radio. And then optionally, you can have a location provider that can tell the device where it's located, battery, screens, etc. And then you can have a device connected to it that would work with it. So let me show a couple examples here of.
What would be a use case for having a GPS connected to it?
So they report their location as part of the network, but then so that would allow you to have a really accurate location positioning. And then when you get into a situation where you have a private network, where you can just say, it's just my friends on the hike, you can have a GPS on there, and then you could know exactly where somebody was. And so if someone got lost, separated from the party, even if they weren't responding, you could still find out exactly where they were located at. Does that answer your question? Yep. Okay. All right, let's see if this will zoom in. All right. So these are kind of like two ends of the spectrum here on LoRa devices. This one here, oops, nope. Nope. There it is. Zoom in a little more. Okay. This is the LilyGo TDEC, and it's got a full-on screen, everything built into it. It doesn't have a GPS module built into it, but I think they do have optional GPS modules you can actually install into this, and it'll be completely self-contained. And you can just type on the keypad, and you're good to go. This device here, this is a Heltec V3 Lite. I was in the slide talked about it a bit later, but it has 0 accessories. There's not even a screen. There's just the 2 buttons here on the side for reboot or whatever you want to do. So you can see here, it's showing it got the test message I sent earlier, although it's saying 0 seconds ago. But yeah, so this one you can do it all from, let's see, Alt. There we go, backlight on the keyboard. It's like a BlackBerry. It's got the little roller ball right here, which is kind of, I don't know, kind of exciting, I think, to have that. Why isn't that going back? Oops, I just broadcast a message. Okay. And then this is the middle one, kind of middling device that has a screen, a minimal screen on it, and antenna, everything built in. So when you're looking at devices, I just picked 3 here for example. The Heltec, yeah, this is the LoRa V3. That's this device here. And this is the Heltec Lite. That's what this is. This is the Lite. This is the full-on. So the difference is this one doesn't have a screen. This one has a screen. Like I said, these are about $10 to $15. This one was a little less than that. So easy getting started one, pick up one of these things here. If you want to build on a full-on base station, then you can use a Raspberry Pi. There it is. So here's a Raspberry Pi, and this has got it's a WaveShare LoRa hat, which I got and then found out there's an issue with this one. So I didn't get the right one, but for example, you can use it with that Raspberry Pi as well. And then it gives you full-on desktop where you want to run something more complicated. In the middle here, I have the ultra-low power ones using so the easy start one is using the Expressive ESP32, and the ultra-low power is using the Nordic some crazy looking number there. And so this is a device that's really designed to be minimal power. This is a recommended starter kit from the Meshtastic website, and it's 2 parts. You have to get a core module and then a baseboard that's basically the I/O, the breakout board for it, that you plug into it in order to be able to use it. I guess you could swap those around for different configurations. Yeah, so the recommended Raspberry Pi device is the Adafruit RFM95W, and it's about $20. So you get an idea of what those prices look like there. Oh, that was an interesting transition there. Cool, okay. This was something that took me a while to figure out, different frequencies. So if you're shopping for LoRa devices, you'll see different frequencies listed on different devices. And a lot of devices will do multiple frequencies, and that comes down to your region, what frequency you use. So the LoRa can work on any of these frequencies, but based on the region you're in, there's different laws, regulations around those. So in the US, there's what's called the Industrial, Scientific, and Medical radio band, ISM radio band, and that is 915 is right in the middle of that. And so this is a band that doesn't require a license. Anybody can broadcast and receive at up to 30 dBm, and yeah, so you don't need a license. If you wanted to use one of the other frequencies in the US, you would need a license. It also, I didn't realize this until I was looking into this, there's also support for 2.4 gigahertz, which is the same frequency as your Wi-Fi and your Bluetooth and your microwave oven. But are the microwaves, are they 2.4 gigahertz? I can't.
Throw stuff out at that.
What's that?
They can throw stuff out, but I don't know that it's specific to 2.4.
Yeah, but it seems like they hit in that range though, right?
I think it's just broad spectrum.
Okay.
Just noise.
I knew there was one frequency. It's like if your router was near your microwave could just like totally wipe it out. Yeah, but yeah, they're not a specific, very specific frequency. You're right. They're very broad range. If you go out to the Meshtastic website, though, it lists all the frequencies for different regions, but I just wanted to throw some of them up here. These are the main frequencies I see, is 868, 915, and 433 when you're shopping for radios. So if you're going to be in the US, make sure your LoRa device does 915 frequency. Okay, so we're going to go through here, and I'm going to set up this device from scratch. This is the Heltec LoRa V3. Like I said, you can get these are about $15. So you can actually get it optionally without the case. For example, you can buy a stripped down version. There's a few different options for buying it, but this is the option I got here. It's got the antenna, and here I can crack it open so you can see. So I just put the antenna, you hook it up to this connector here. This is the LoRa antenna side. There's this has got an antenna connector over here. This is the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connector. So ESP32, anybody here use ESP32 devices before? Okay, I see one hand. Anybody here use Arduino devices? Okay, cool, a few people. So Arduino microcontrollers for little hobby projects. Basically, it's like like a microwave oven or anything that has electronics in it has some sort of microcontroller in it, and a really common one, there's a few different common ones out there. The ESP32 is by Expressif, and it has, one of the cool things about it is it's really cheap. You can get ESP32s for like $4 and up, which is crazy cheap, and they have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built into them. So if you're wanting to do something that's going to connect to Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, it's a great place to start with an ESP32. So this board uses an ESP32 as its microcontroller, as its processor core to run the firmware, which means it has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built into it. So what that means is that you can connect to this device via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, whether it be your laptop or a mobile device. It can connect wirelessly to it, or you can connect through the USB port on the side. Okay. Now, I had my one USB port, the big one here, that quit working on me. So I'm using the smaller one, and it's got different connectors. So let me find the other cord. Nope. Okay. All right, let me go back over here and kind of flip through. Oh, yes, here's the specifications. That's where it says the chip, the master chip, which is the CPU, whatever you want to call it, is ESP32. And it's this particular model of the ESP32 by Expressive. There's the LoRa node chip, that's the LoRa radio. And then the USB serial is the CP2102. When you're connecting a device like this to your computer for the first time, you might not have the USB drivers. So knowing what its USB chip is makes it easier to make sure you're getting the right drivers installed. Usually the guide, wherever you get the device from will have a guide on their site. But just in case, if you can find out what the chip is, you can usually find out how to connect it. And then, yeah, it has Wi-Fi, 802.11, BG and N, and Bluetooth 5 LE. All right, so, and then very important, don't power on the radio without attaching an antenna, because it's going to run a lot of power out that, and if it doesn't have an antenna attached to it, it can burn out the radio. So that's important to know. And then let's go to, oops, I hope that didn't. All right, Meshtastic. Oh, flasher. Nope, that's the wrong. Honestly, I've done a lot of stuff with microcontrollers, and the way they have this set up with this, the web-based interface on this is so nice. Now, I'll do it with this device, okay. So I have this device connected, and I'm going to come here and click this little rocket ship, and it's going to pop up and say, which device do you want to use? Now, if I disconnect this, you see that last one disappeared, and then I plug it in, and it shows back up again? Now I know which port it is. So the browser just says, hey, which port do you want to connect to? And this is showing your Bluetooth devices as well as other USB devices, and you'd be like, I don't know. So unplug it, plug it back in, and there you know which one it is. And also, there's that CP2102. That's what we saw was the chip in there that is the one we need to connect. I don't remember if I installed the driver for this previously. I may have. Like I said, if you don't, the guide has links to how to install that. So I just come here and select the device. Sometimes it will detect the device. And interestingly, this one here, the web flasher automatically detects it, but for some reason, this other one doesn't. Oh wait, it did. Haha. Okay, so it said Heltec V3. It figured that out. You can come in here though and browse through all the different devices and find the one you need if it doesn't auto-detect it. Then it automatically goes and grabs the latest stable beta firmware for you, and then you just hit flash. And it gives you the whole release notes, warning, who contributed. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, and I'm not going to, when you get a new device, so some devices you get will have Meshtastic pre-installed on it. I would still recommend coming in here doing a flash on it because you don't know, it's probably an old version of Meshtastic, and it could have the keys might be compromised, for example. So do a full erase on a new one. I'm not going to do a full erase now because it's a little quicker. Yeah, let's go ahead and do a full erase. What the heck? It's not that slower. And then I hit, so it pops back up again and says, are you sure which one you want to connect to? Select the same device, hit connect. And it is connecting, and honestly, this is like, feels like black magic to me that my browser can connect to a device on my local machine and flash the firmware. Not much to see on there. Oh. Did I kill it? Oh, good. It's still going. I hate websites that do that, where you click outside of this area and it's just like, and we close the modal window. Oh, so I did select Bundle Web UI, which is telling me it's a little bigger, add some more space to it. And what that does is it allows you to, if you're completely off the grid, this device has Wi-Fi on it, and you can connect to its Wi-Fi, and it's going to have the Web UI built into it. Or you can use what I'll show you here in a little bit, the Web UI on Meshtastic's website to connect to it. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility. All right, so that's done. Now, here's the thing I learned the hard way. So this is telling me, it's giving me the device ID, and it says you can connect via Android, iOS, or command line or web interface to program it. You need to visit meshtastic.org for more information. Can't really read that on the screen right now. But the thing I discovered the hard way is, see this right down here at the bottom where it says disconnecting down there? If you leave this tab open and then go to the Meshtastic client or any client, it won't work because it's already connected to this device. And you can't have two connections to the serial port. And so you have to close this guy here, and then we can connect over here. So this is the client. This is the one on that Meshtastic hosts. But like I said, since I did bundle in here, technically I could just connect to its Wi-Fi. Oh, I will show you this. Sorry, I'm jumping around a bit here. You can come here to the serial monitor, and if you have if you're trying to connect via Bluetooth, for example, and you don't know the pin or anything like that, you can come in here to the serial monitor. If you restart the device, I hit the wrong button. There we go, rebooted the device. You can come in here and it will show you, for example, your PIN or whatever you need to do, what the name of the SID password, et cetera. All that will be shown in the serial monitor. So that's really cool. Again, feels like black magic that my browser can do this, but makes it so much easier. All right, so now I'm going to connect to the client. So I come in here and say new device, serial. Now, it already has this because I did this earlier today, but otherwise I would come here and say new device, and it would say, here's the list of COM devices, and you would select the one you want. Again, you can unplug it and plug it back in to find the one you need, and there's the ID. So it's the same one. It's there twice now. So I'll select it there. Okay, so now we've connected to the so the client has connected to the device, the firmware running on the device. If you do this and the device name appears unknown, then you still have the other tab open. You need to close it. But otherwise, you should see something like this, and the screen will be showing Meshtastic 5214 or F214, which is what it's showing here. That's just a randomly assigned message. Oh, someone just sent me a message on here. Somebody else is on the public channel and just messaged me in range. Cool. Oh, Boise Software Developers Group is doing a Meshtastic talk demo. Okay, cool. So you can come in here and rename your device. Your long name can be whatever you want it to be. Just call it BSDG Health Tech 2, and we'll call it Dev 2. Short name can be up to 4 characters. And it can be emoji. It can be a single emoji, too, if you want to. Okay, and so some things, when you do it, it will reboot. So you can see it's rebooting now. So this doesn't necessarily refresh until it's fully rebooted. So let's refresh this here. New device serial. There it is. There you go. So see, it says dev2 BSDG Healthtech 2. All right. So the configuration you have to do before you can do anything else is come in here to config LoRa. I don't know if you can see this on here. Let's see if it's gonna. Nope. So on this little information screen, one of the screens will show, it says unset. And so what unset means is that it doesn't have a region set. And you have to set a region to specify what frequency. It's not doing anything until you specify a region. So right here it says unset. So I can come in here. Here's all the different regions I can choose from. But we're in the US and we don't want to break any laws, so we're going to pick US. The configuration does, if you go to the documentation, it goes into a lot or more details on the rest of the configuration here. This is the Meshtastic website if you want other things, but that's the main thing you have to do is set that one. And save right there. Okay, and it's rebooting again. And it popped up saved down here on the bottom. Config saved. Oops. Rebooting. Okay, so right there in the corner, it says US now instead of unset, which you can barely see. And instead of giving me the little screen that says, hey, you need to configure it, it now says that it's connected to the long fast channel. So actually, let's just go and send a message. This disconnected. Sometimes the browser handles the disconnects and reconnects better. I had all 5 of my devices connected to the browser earlier, and it just kept dying. Okay, yep, it died. But we'll try it again anyway, because. Oh, so you can see I can connect via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth as well. So if I got the, actually I didn't have any luck with Bluetooth from my computer, but in theory, if I got the IP address of the device, I could connect to it via HTTP, but like I said, I have not tried that one. Okay. So this can see 3 other devices in range here. So let's click map, and it's gonna, nope, it's not seeing them yet. It's waiting for the refresh since it just rebooted. So let's go ahead and send a message. I'm going to send a message on the primary channel. This is the public channel. It says, hello from BSDG. And this device should get the message here. There we go. Hello from BSDG. So let's see if Maps got, aha, we got some nodes connected to it now. So it sees these other 2. Okay. Okay, so this is the James T. Kirk is my TDEC, the other one that's sitting here on the desk. And then this one here is Dev2, which of course isn't the list because it's not up here. But it should be. There's another one. So earlier today when I was testing this, let's see if I had one right here that I was connecting to, no hops from this other device. Actually, I'll connect to that one and see if, let me grab the other USB cable.
Does the public channel go to everything that is not a hop?
That's a good question. Does the public channel go to everything that's not a hop? I think it goes to the ones that are a hop as well. I don't think it restricts it to non-hopped.
Normally, it's going to relay your radio's going to relay the packets, right?
Right.
It's like a hop. The time to live actually kind of like the packet. Kind of like the UDP TDL.
Right. So yeah, public would go to, well, it's actually, so I'll show you, there's a place you specify number of hops to go to. It's only going to go that many hops. The Oxford comma sent the other message here. Okay, so this is my other device that I just plugged in here. And if we click map, so this one has a little better antenna on it. So there's the Weezer location there. So yeah, here's a couple. This one's got an emoji for a short name. Under config, though, you can set hop limit right here. The docs say 3's recommended, but 7's the max. I don't know if that's enforced if you modify the software, if you can set it to whatever you want it to be, but I would guess that probably the next one to pick it up is going to then set it back to the maximum and not going to.
I think the trick is that you don't want to set the maximum because you'll flood the network.
Yeah, exactly. But if you have somebody that's a bad actor, I would expect that the network would say, no, you can't set your hop to 100. I'm going to downgrade you.
There's something in that it won't retransmit one that it's seen. So, for example, it gets a message, it decrements the hop limit, it sends it. It's probably going to see that message again from whoever received it. It then is continuing to retransmit. So I assume it must filter that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But okay, so let me hook up a battery here to this guy. So I picked up some battery packs for these as well. This one came with a battery. This one did not, but I picked up some cheap batteries on Amazon. So I plugged that in there. Can unplug it, and this guy's still live. So I should be able to send a message from this one here. And I'm going to put it back in the back of the room. Not that that's really very far when we're talking about a range of miles, but okay. Tom, tell me if this thing shows that it's got a message here in a second, all right? It should pop up on the screen that say, message received. Okay. Hello from the front of the room.
Where's the break between LoRa and Meshtastic? Is LoRa just a radio, or does it actually have some of the rebroadcast stuff at that layer?
Yeah, LoRa is just the radio technology, so it doesn't have, the rebroadcast isn't necessarily part of LoRa itself.
Okay.
Did you get a message, Tom?
Green hasn't changed. Oh, there it goes. Hello, dispatcher.
All right, cool. So it, for some reason, took a while for the radio waves to travel that far, but yeah, it had to go. That's probably it. It probably had to go to Weezer. Anyway, so a couple other configurations here on this, and then if someone wants to play with one of these devices, I will pass it around. Okay. So right now we're just transmitting on the public channel, but you can set up your own channels as well. So let's do that. Okay, go back to Dev 2 and channels. Okay, so I should, oops, it lost my spot in the slides.
Hey, Jim.
Yes?
So when you send that message, does it go out and all the other nodes rebroadcast?
So it goes to, it sends it out to, I don't know how many nodes it sends it out to, what kind of logic it has to do it, but it does send it out, it does broadcast it to all the nodes. So everybody that I'm connected to here, if they're listening to the public channel, would have gotten that message as well, because it wasn't to someone specifically, it was just open broadcast. And then they would then rebroadcast it as well, yes.
So eventually it'll take your device you're trying to get it to.
Yes, exactly. But right now, like I said, it was just doing a public broadcast, so which is how Oxford Comma was able to send us a message. It's because we were listening on the public channel, but we can set up private channels as well. So I have if somebody has their Meshtastic device, they could scan that QR code and join the private BSDG channel I set up, but I'm just going to copy this pre-shared key here and go to channels. Oops, on the other device. And I'm going to add a secondary channel. And put in my pre-shared key. I'm going to do a 128-bit key. You could do a 256-bit key if you wanted to get really crazy, but I want to be able to copy easily. And then you give your channel a name. And submit. And so now, all right, it didn't connect. So let me refresh this page. When I unplugged it and plugged it back in, it didn't reconnect to it. Okay, channels, 2, secondary, 128. Nope, not regenerated. And then name, BSDG, submit. There we go. Channel saved, and we see it updated there. So now we've created a private channel that, let me reconnect the other device as well. And we'll switch to the private channel on both of them. Messages, BSDG. And now I can send a private message. And the other device received it here as well. And it showed up on the screen. I don't know if you heard the little noise it made, but I can bring up the message. Nope, apparently I cleared the alert when I viewed it on there. Let me do one more message then, so. When's it gonna show it? Nope. Usually it'll pop up on the screen and show it, but it's not, probably because I'm connected to the web interface. Okay. So I will share, actually make sure the Wi-Fi is turned, or Bluetooth is turned on here. So you could connect to one of these via Bluetooth or the serial port. Bluetooth is probably easier. Config, Bluetooth is enabled. I'll do fixed pin. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sounds like a good pin. All right, so who wants to, you can go to the App Store, and there is a Meshtastic app you can download, and you can then connect to this guy here and see if you can connect the network. Who wants to try connecting to one of these? Anybody? I heard a sure, but I didn't see a hand. Right here, okay, cool. There you go. If you want to go to the App Store, you can get the Meshtastic app, or I'll give you a USB cable, and you can just plug it into your computer and do the web interface. If you go to client.meshtastic.org and plug into the USB, you should be able to, if Mac OS has the driver. I haven't tried this on a Mac, so it's right there. Nope, on this guy here. Yep. Anybody else? I have another device if anybody else wants to play with one.
Can you do it from our phone?
Yes, you can do it from your phone.
Yeah.
All right. Let me make sure this guy has Bluetooth turned on. Oh, okay. Yeah, so you can do it from your phone. Let me go in here and make sure config Bluetooth is enabled. Instead of random pin, I'm going to do fixed pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, cool. Oops. Somebody's sending messages. Make sure that took, that I set the pin. I've only used the Android app, but there's an iOS app as well, apparently, so. Config, Bluetooth, fixed pin. Okay, cool. All right, so someone else, you said you were interested?
Yeah, is that Dev 15937?
That's Dev 1, yep.
Oh, no.
That is it. so you can connect from the Android app. Yeah. Oh, let me hook this guy up here. So I suspect, even those devices I just passed out say Heltec on them, I suspect it's possible they're clones because I didn't buy them directly from a licensed redistributor. So sometimes that happens, you get clones but I don't know, maybe they are legit. They seem to work, so what does it matter, right? Okay. Let me. What's that? The pin. So in the app, are you using iOS app? So you need to add a device. Let's see. Nodes right here. Nope. I don't remember. Let's see. App settings. Logs. Bluetooth. There we go. Okay.
Oh, no, it wasn't showing up in a minute.
Okay. So it's probably. Someone say dev1 just said, is this working? I don't know which go. Try that first one there. Oh. Can we get it to refresh?
It's counting down.
Okay. Nope. Okay, try the other one.
Are you connected? Okay.
Okay, so put the pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in there.
Here.
It might be trying to compare with my other device, because I don't think I named that one Jim. It doesn't say it's getting it. You were able to connect just fine? Are you using iOS or Android? iOS. All right. Did you go into Bluetooth to connect, or did you just connect from the app?
They just connected from that.
Okay. Okay, I have, well, if after you play with it for a minute, if you want to pass it on, you can.
Figure out how to do it.
Okay. Connect. Oh, I'm unplugged. Okay, any questions? I know you're still trying to connect there, but any other questions? What got me into this? A few years ago, someone was telling me about how cool LoRa was, and that it was this long-range, low-power, low-bandwidth connection. And I'm like, what are you going to do with it? And I didn't see anything to do with it. And then I saw this, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Like I said, I'm kind of a like getting into technology just for technology's sake, just to figure it out, was kind of the initial interest in it. But then I guess I have a little bit, maybe it's my Boy Scout background or whatever, this like emergency preparedness, background process that's always running, where it's like, what if things go wrong? What could I do? How could I make sure I could still, be sufficient? And so that's probably part of it as well. It's just that idea of being able to have a communication mechanism that I could do that doesn't require anything else. And then also probably just the idea of being able to connect to this group of other people in the valley that I don't know, and just this idea that were like formed this super secret network that no one else knows about, even though. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Actually, so I was really interested in ham as a kid, but then looked into like learning to get the licenses like that, and I don't know. I washed out. I wasn't that interested in it, I guess. So that's probably it, is like scratching that ham itch that I had from a kid, because it doesn't require a license.
That note up, I think it was like Nick or something up there on the app. It said it was like 0 hops. It was 16 miles away. Was that one or one next to it? Was like higher power one?
Yeah, so there are different things you can do to get like different antennas and stuff like that to,
When I was looking into it, there were a couple people that were,
Yeah.
there were a couple relays that were at the,
oh, really?
yeah, and so they had the Capitol in downtown wired up someplace. Yeah, right there, IDH study, that's the one. I think my experience was I had very little luck with, I mean, downtown's hit and miss because of all the buildings.
Right.
That was my experience. But, if you can get it, great, but you might go behind a building, and so your reach may be less.
Yes, that's true, because, yeah, what device were you using?
I was using a Heltec.
Were you using the stock antenna, or were you using a different antenna?
I was using a different antenna, so I had gotten one of those nifty little antennas driving around, and yeah, I wasn't, it was hit and miss on the downtown Boise side when I was in downtown Boise, so that's what I remember.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the things I read about online. Actually, I have a.
Like when I was up on the
That's it.
bench, I got much better reception than when I was down in the actual valley.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's because you're going to have the higher elevation and less big buildings and stuff. Yeah. And so all right. So somebody's. Let's see. Messages. Oxford. So is Oxford, in the room here?
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Can you have additional public channels, or would you just have to like throw your key out on a public channel and everyone just grabs it and puts it in?
That's a good. I think you. Yeah, I think you would have to. Yeah, you'd have to share out your key.
Okay.
I think. Well, actually, let me see. If I leave the key empty, what does that do? I didn't give it a name. Key. And then let's plug this other one in. Nope. Nope. I had a USB cable here a second ago. Oh, wait, I think I gave it to you for the Mac, but you said it didn't connect. Are you still using the key, the USB? All right. Do anybody else want to try connecting to this? All right. There you go. I always feel like getting your hands on hardware is like the best way to learn. I've talked to so many people who are like, oh, I want to learn programming. And I'm like, oh, cool, what are you doing? And they're like, I watched all these videos. I'm like, have you done any programming yet? And like, no. And I said, that's like trying to learn ride a bicycle by watching a video. You know, it's not going to happen. So, okay. You connected yet? Oh, it locked up again. Good grief. Where am I going on the other? That's what I wanted anyway. Too many tabs open, probably. Okay, reload. Kill exit page. Reload. Oh, wait, that wasn't what I wanted. There we go. Connect. Serial. Okay. Messages. Oh, it doesn't have, because I closed it. Okay, so here's channel 2. So, that's right. I was going to see if this could, if I send the message, yeah, this other one, I guess if I come in here and say channel, or it was just CH2, wasn't it? Secondary, CH2, submit. All right, CH2, hello, and messages, CH2, can you, let's go back to the other one. Nope, they're not communicating. Well, we'll see, maybe it takes a second. It's got to go to Weezer and back. Yeah, so they're not in the same channel, even though they don't have a key. I hadn't looked at that, so it doesn't look like that works, but I'm not sure why it doesn't, because it seems like it should now.
Well, the secondaries all match based on what the key is.
Yeah,
So if there's no key, then there's no match.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, except for empty's an option.
Yeah, I mean, empty's an option. That's the thing that's weird. Try one more time. Gem, channels. Channel 2. Oh, there we go. So that's interesting. I wonder if it was because the name has to match. So you, by default, when you make a channel, you can do this QR code here, and it'll give you a link you can share or a QR code you can give to somebody, and you can include multiples in here. So I'm wondering if it has to match the name. Now that they're both in the same one, let's change that and see. Channel 2.
How many dots are in there?
I don't know. It looks like 5, a space and 5 dots. But I'm curious to see if they still can communicate now.
Well, it dropped the other messages. Is it caching behind the scenes based on the channel name?
Drop, that's actually, hello. Okay, so this one I sent before it connected, and then it wasn't connected for those. So, okay, so apparently the channel name does have to match. So let's try, go here, channels, channel 2, submit, and then go to messages, channel 2. Now I have dots 2. Yep, so channel name has to match. So if your channel name matches, you don't have, well, your channel name and your key have to match, and your key can be blank. Interesting. Okay, good question. I like those kind of questions.
So it is pretty easy to do, just throw ad hoc stuff into a separate conversation.
What-
Yes.
What's funny
Oh, really?
So give it something else.
You know, I noticed that there was some weird things that were different between the different things. So we'll just call this BSDG2 lowercase. Messages, BSDG2. Okay, cool. That worked. So let's see if you get in. Are you in?
I'm not seeing anything.
Interesting. You see, you have to see the BSDG channel though, right?
Yeah, I believe I see one.
Yeezy.com. I don't know what's my thoughts on Yeezy.com, but that's a really good question.
Okay, I sent that, so there you go. Social chaos engineering.
Okay. So interesting. You adding a channel by just doing it blank and BSDG2 didn't work, huh?
BSDG2 lowercase, yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, that's apparently a difference between the different clients must be in the configuration. It must be encoding the name differently or something. Oh, you know what? It could be. It could be like a Unicode. No, it shouldn't be Unicode. It should be Unicode should translate the same. Has anybody done any work with Unicode, like character encodings? It is. I was just in Prague to a bank there was transitioning from code pages pre-Unicode to Unicode, and if you're on the default US code page to Unicode, it's a pretty easy transition because everything just maps across. But if you're moving from apparently if you're moving from a non-US code page to Unicode, it's just like who knows what's going to happen. It was pretty bonkers. Okay, I see someone's sending messages.
Yeah, it's probably me.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so what did you do differently?
Oh, I had it generated the PSK. I just had
Oh, it had a default key in there? Okay. So this was kind of, oh, let me find where is this at? Okay, here we go. I found this GitHub that does antenna report. And so they bring up a bunch of different antennas they tested and had prices and links and whether they suggest them for use or not. I don't see where they explain why they, okay, so there's a report in here. Oh, test results, different frequencies, interesting. All right, so if you're looking for antenna suggestions, this is apparently a useful place to go. And I saw this was linked to from here, where was it at? The documentation is pretty good. It took me a while to find stuff in it, but once I found everything I was looking for, it was a lot easier to work with. Okay, so this was an interesting thing I was looking at. So I mentioned I wanted to do Raspberry Pi, and this was the recommended LoRa device for Raspberry Pi, and they're like, it's open source. Here's all the details, and you might be able to buy some on frequencylab.etsy. I'm like, all right, cool. So I went out here, and they're charging $1,000 a piece for these hats, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't know if that's like their way of saying they're out, or they're just like, I don't want to assemble anymore, but if you really pay me to, I will. Either way, I thought that was kind of crazy. But out of curiosity, I went to PCBWay, and I didn't get all the way through the process, but it looks like I can get 10 of these made. Let's change this to 10. Oh, 10. For $50. So I can get 10. I downloaded, and I may have missed something, so it's possible I'm wrong. But if anybody's like, oh my goodness, I want one of those devices and want to go in with me on this, I'll figure it out the rest of the way. But they have all the...
Does that include the reuse of or is that like you have to buy the parts separate?
That includes the parts. So I did a... so I took the BOM and loaded it up in here, and the parts for... Actually, so this is... Because these parts, most of them aren't available in singles, that's a ton of parts, but most of them are pretty cheap. This guy's here is the only one that's expensive, is $650. That's the, I'm guessing that's the main radio module. So, like I said, I haven't broke the price all the way down in here, but I plugged as much of it in as I could last night, and it looks like, yeah, you can get this for pretty cheap. So if, like I said, if someone wants to go in with this on me, let me know. We don't have to get 10. I just was trying to find what's the sweet spot, of how many devices to get. And if this guy's actually selling these for $1,000 a pop and we can get them pre-made for 50 for 10 of them, that's $5 a piece. Man, that seems like I'm in the wrong line of work. Actually, I'm looking for work right now. Maybe I just found my job. Has anybody here done any fab on like PCBWay or someplace like that before? Nobody here? Honestly, this is, again, it feels like black magic to me that I can go here and upload Gerber files and a BOM, and they can apparently make these and ship them to me and get them to me in 2 to 4 business days. That's crazy. Including assembly, yeah.
Is that in China?
Yeah, it's in China.
Okay, so maybe not.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was actually, I was going to order one more device for today, and then the whole de minimis changes happened. And I'm like, I'm not going to order anything from China for a while until they figure that out. So, yep, that's a good point. It might, well, even with tariffs, it still wouldn't be that bad. I mean, if they had, 25% tariff they want to do? I'm not sure how this works, though. See this? My assembly was $128.31, but it's discounted to $30, which...
Probably because it's your first time.
Yeah, I'm guessing so. I'm not logged...
Like subsequent times will be like.
Oh, I am logged in. No, I'm not logged in. So I'm not sure how it knows this is my first time. I don't know. Anyway, I kind of want to do this, again, just to try it, because I've never had a PCB fab for me before.
I've gone through GLC PCB and it's not bad.
Which one did you use?
GLC PCB.
GLC...
JLC.
JLC. Oh, yeah. JLC PCB.
Trick is you've got to make sure everything's in stock.
Yep.
But like, depends upon the module. Like sometimes the modules are easy enough to get and then solder on yourself if they don't have it.
My personal opinion is that through-hole is easy to solder on. Surface mount, man, that keeps kicking my butt. I have a friend that says surface mount's easier to solder, and I guess he has a different setup than I do.
You're not using enough force. So.
That's always the secret when it comes to soldering, isn't it? But my son, actually, he was wanting to mod his switch and install a mod chip on it, and so I got him some projects to work on, and that's why I keep telling him, just add flux. If it's not working, add flux. And he modded his friend switch already, and took a lot of flux, but he got it done. So, okay. Where was I at? Nope. Any other questions about this? Otherwise, I'm going to probably go into a couple other esoteric things, but I think that was kind of the most of what we were wanted to show. Any other questions, comments, snide remarks? Is anybody wanted to play with one of the devices that didn't get a chance to yet? Raise your hand.
I have a kind of high-level question.
Yeah.
It's like, if I'm thinking about a project that for texting for backpackers, like, what's the advantage of the LoRa versus Wi-Fi? Is it a lot lower power?
Yes. A lot lower power.
A lot more range too.
And a lot more range. Yep. So, yeah, here it was.
The big issue, like for backpacking, is that you're going to have line of sight issues trying to get over or through a mountain, say.
Yes. Yep.
So, depending on your situation, it's possible that you may make these little boxes that are self-contained with a battery and then solar. You can mount that up someplace where you have good line of sight, and then people can communicate that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was going to say, if you built like a relay node that you could set up and set it up on the mount, someplace high that everybody can see, then you'd probably be able to keep everybody connected. And, that device with a solar panel should be fine because it's very, very low power. But yeah, so here's the range. Wi-Fi's like 300 feet, and then LoRa's 1 to 6 miles. That's a lot of difference in range. Again, and both of them are going to be limited by line of sight. There's a little bit, it's interesting, the lower frequencies actually are more forgiving for line of sight issues than the higher frequencies because of the wavelength. The wavelength's long enough, it can wrap around some things, and so if the wavelength is low enough, it can actually go around corners easier. Yeah. But yeah, this would be an ideal setup for backpacking, for communicating via backpacking. Is that something you've been wanting to work on for a while, or just like?
I'm just wondering,
Yeah. Okay.
especially think about like ESP32, like it has Wi-Fi already. Like, if you just have a tiny little chip,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think if the power and range is not as good, then
Yep. Well, yeah. So if you're using ESP32 and you're connected to it from your phone, so that's the kind of weird thing, right? So this device here is completely self-contained, right? But if you're using one of the other ones, like this one or the ones I passed around, you would still need your phone to connect to this to interface with it. And so then you're gonna have the Bluetooth transmitter turned on, which is gonna be using a little more power, and your phone, you gotta maintain the charger on your phone. But the range is going to be way better with this than trying to communicate via some other mechanism to do it. So yeah.
One thing in the Sawtooth Valley, there's a radio club. They maintain a 2-meter ham repeater. I think it might be a Galena Summit. I'm not sure where it is, but it covers that valley and the Sawtooth really well. I'm sure you could do the same with LoRa if you had access to be able to do that. So definitely, like, if there's something of interest, some people in a radio club, you can probably get done.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And again, that kind of goes back to like kind of why I think this is exciting is because it's LoRa's been kind of neat for a while, but then it's like Meshtastic's like a useful thing for it. And so I feel like it's one of those things that it's just like starting out that people are like, hey, I could install a repeater someplace, and contribute to this, make a connection in this network and make some sort of contribution to it, and whereas there's not a lot of other options for, somebody that just wants to get involved from a grassroots thing to, do stuff, I feel like. So, yeah, that would be an interesting thing is that you could, build a contributor repeater to an area to cover stuff. So, I was going to show, that's cool. The emoji is just a wave there from Dev2. I don't know if you can see the hand waving. That's cool.
could you proxy it through the internet to connect to communities?
Could you proxy it?
Yes.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, so people have done that?
Yeah, people have done that. It's weird though because it goes through the internet and it's like So it might go places you don't necessarily want to go, but it's like Iowa, say, because it's going over the internet.
So you just have you use a gateway, and so you if you like wanted to have a channel where you wanted to talk to everybody everywhere, you could proxy it over the internet.
I haven't
Yeah.
done much, but yeah, people have set up like a server and on the internet, and it just they listen to the server, it gets relayed.
That's cool. Yeah, it seems like they should be able to. One thing I was hoping to do, and I didn't, is they actually have a new firmware for this device here and a few other ones that is a much richer GUI that makes this like a really nice device to use. And I've seen, I saw someone that wrote up a guide on how to build the firmware yourself and install it. And I tried it, it didn't work. And I spent way too much time on that. But yeah, there's some really nice firmwares coming down for these self-contained devices. Oh, and this device here, this is not the antenna it came with. I added this antenna, which it actually has, like, was showing it saw pretty good range. Dev2 sent a blank.
It's supposed to be a beer emoji.
A beer emoji. Oh, is it beer time? Ping, ping, pint. Oh, yep, there it is. Okay. Let me show Meshtastic BBS. This was something I thought was really cool. Anybody here was anybody else involved in BBSs? A few of you. I ran a BBS way, way, way back in the day when I was in high school. So early 90s. And
What software did you use for it? Teleguard or something else?
I used remote access, which hardly anybody else used. You remember that?
Vaguely, I can't picture it. The name rings a bell. Back when it was, I ran a Teleguard BBS briefly
Locally in the valley or
in Florida, where I lived.
in Florida? Yeah, so I ran cyberspace to BBS way back when I was in high school, and it was crazy. I'd get people like come on and say, "Hey, I waved to you at school today." And I'm like, "I don't know who you are, but cool." It was fun. But so someone made a BBS for Meshtastic. So the idea is that you can use the Meshtastic mesh network to connect to this BBS. This is why I was trying to get the Raspberry Pi instance to work, is because I wanted to set up an instance of this, but it didn't work. But it has like message boards, right? So right now, if you want to get messages, you need to post them in your device, or your device needs to be online to receive the message. And you can put the devices in like a low power mode so that they are still able to get messages, but they're not as so they're saving battery. But then this gives you an opportunity to post messages on a bulletin board, right? Where then you could then come online when you're later on and go in and see the other messages. Man, BBSs were the stuff we were doing back in the day was so crazy. Like I can't remember what the network was called, where they would the BBSs would call to each other at night when the long distance rates were low, and forward messages, and so you could have these messages to go propagate clear across the world overnight by doing this call tree thing they had going on. So,
There was a couple of
yeah.
Anybody else use CompuServe back in the day?
I did. I used CompuServe briefly. I did use Prodigy though. I see one person nodding their head.
BBS, CompuServe, I did it all.
Yeah, you did it all? Okay. So yeah, this is kind of an interesting idea. I kind of like the idea of making like an ASCII-based door game. You remember door games on BBSs, or you come here and play some game like.
The turn-based games.
Yeah, the turn-based games, exactly, where you like log in and do your turn for the day, and I don't know, just nostalgia, I guess, kicking in at that point, but kind of cool. So again, one of the things I was excited about with this is just that it's this. I feel like there's enough utility and enough excitement around this. It's kind of this emerging thing that people are getting involved in as a hobby thing, and that's just fun to be part of. So.
Some of this is similar to like packet radio you can do with ham radio, but that's always dead because you have to be licensed.
Yes.
Everyone does it, whereas there's no barrier of licensing.
Exactly. And yeah, Yeah. Yep. So, okay, so see, we got a beer, a thumbs up, a wine glass, and someone wanting coffee here. So I guess that means we're done. Any other questions, comments, etc.?
Is it a possibility of doing public key type stuff? Or, yeah, public key type stuff so that you could have like signed messages and whatnot?
Yeah. I mean, you could do signed messages over the existing infrastructure, right? So you could post something public on the public channel that was encrypted and signed to a specific individual. But I mean, this is open source and still evolving. And when I was looking at actually software, where's it at? Somewhere on here, it was talking about the encryption. Let me search for encryption. And there we go, Meshtastic encryption. So it says, this is a secure signal, whatever. No, just using AES, but they're wanting to add perfect forward security, integrity checking, authentication, and direct messages and stuff like that as well. So there's some other stuff coming down the pipe, which is exciting. And maybe, I don't know, if you want to get involved, maybe you could add some functionality to it. Actually, it was about 6 months ago or so when I first started playing with this. I did a pull request to add some stuff to the documentation. They got back to me pretty much right away and gave me some feedback and integrated it. So they're actively involved and open to contributions, which is nice. I can't tell you how many times in the past I've like some open source project I get excited about and they do something and I go to make a pull request and they're like, no, you did it wrong. And that's it. And I'm like, I thought it was useful. But anyway, so I have, if someone wants it, I'm going to give away one of these devices here. Does anybody want a device that they want to play with? No? You do? All right, here you go. You can have this one right here.
That's it?
Yep. I mean, you're the one that raised your hand, so congratulations. Give me a round of applause.
I've just added it to my shopping cart.
Save you some shipping from China. I think that's an upgraded antenna on that one too. I can't remember. Thank you.
Oh, how much was the BlackBerry-like one?
The BlackBerry-like one, it was Go T-Deck. This is the T-Deck Pro, I think, which has a couple of upgrades on it, plus. So $43 is the base one. Oh, which doesn't include a case or anything. But then the plus is what I have, which has the case, and then I added the antenna, was $70.
It's actually a color screen.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then the new firmware that they're working on is going to take full advantage of it. It's going to make a really nice GUI for it. But then I added the external antenna. And
So I think if you get what you want, 915 megahertz antenna, it's like you have your choice there. Make sure you do 915 megahertz.
yes,
because 915 is US.
yes, exactly. Yeah, 915. It has an external antenna for the 433, but not 915. Oh wait, here it is, right there. That's what you were saying. I shouldn't say it.
Yeah. Yeah, because 868 I think is Europe and 433 is Asia.
Yeah.
So is the 2.4 not used much then?
No, and because it's going to be a lot shorter range.
Right.
And I believe you use more battery, but I'm not positive. But the biggest thing is going to be shorter range.
So it's more for other LoRa applications?
Yep. Yeah, and so again, LoRa has lots of applications. Meshtastic is just one use case for it. But yeah, so, okay. So the antenna is $7, and then the device is $71. So if you buy it from there. But if you go, well, I was going to say if you go to Alibaba or AliExpress, you probably get it cheaper, but right now I don't know about that. I don't know if LilyGo ships from China or not. They might. About shipping. Yep, looks like it's shipping from China. So yeah, you might wait a little bit and see what happens. Or see if you can find it in town or domestic. There are some domestic suppliers. Typically, they're a lot more expensive because usually it's somebody that's just bought some and is sitting on them and reselling them. And yeah. But cool. All right. Well, thank you. I'll post the my slides and links and stuff like that to the Discord. If you're not on the Discord, you can get to it from bsdg.dev. BSDG. I just installed this new thing that puts random background images on there because I like that. And some of these are really bonkers. bsdg.dev, and apparently we're on Blue Sky as well. Ah, I didn't know that. All right. Yeah. So I will post it on Discord. Oh, shoot. If anybody wants to, oh no, I bought my. I got an SDR as well. Anybody done anything with SDR, software defined radios? All right, one hand. The guy that's into ham, of course you have. These are so cool. If you want to leave and go get beer, you're not going to hurt my feelings. So this is the Hack RF, which is one of the nicer ones. But you can get these devices here, these RTL SDRs. So if you go to rtl-sdr.com, they have a lot of good resources about learning about these out there. But these are like $20 a piece, I think, for these cheaper ones. So it's interesting, the backstory of this. So it's a software-defined radio. A software-defined radio is a radio that can be tuned to any frequency, not any frequency, but a huge range of frequencies you can use. And how these things came into existence is way back in the day, they had the Hop-Hog video or TV tuners you could put in your computer. Hop-Hog was the main brand, but there were these tuner PCI cards you could put in your computer that could then tune in TV stations and radio stations, and you could watch TV on your computer or record. I had a friend that had like 6 of them, and he was recording everything digitally. And yeah. People stopped watching TV, and they had all these tuner cards, and I'm like, what are we going to do with them? And they're like, oh, you know what? These, so software-defined radio had been around for a while, but it was like a really niche, very expensive thing to get into. And then they have these tuner cards, tuner chips, and they're like, oh, you know what? These can be tuned to anything. So what does anything mean?
So like the car opener, like the clicker
Yep.
for a car?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I've seen those before.
Yeah.
Can the one you have do like the monitoring also, and you can capture the...
Oh, yeah. So this one can receive and broadcast both. This one is a receive-only device, but it's basically, that's not a great. Anyway, the electromagnetic spectrum goes like from cosmic rays to all over the place. It's huge. Different things have different licensing restrictions on it. Let's see if this is going to work. This one was supposed to have a powered hub, which is why I had that hub.
Have you used any of the web SDR sites?
No.
You can tune, like there's a great one in Utah, they have this huge antenna array, and you can just tune it into like.
It's worth just Googling web SDR.
Shortwave browser. If you go to like Utah web SDR, yeah, there's a bunch of them. But, one in Netherlands is a big one. There you go.
This guy here?
It's a lot to figure out, but if you just click on one of those, it talks about the bands, but the AM band is on there. I think if you scroll down as the player,
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, wow. So this is,
That's coming out of Utah Live.
you get audio, you can listen to whatever some of those channels are.
So it's actually capturing across all those frequencies?
yes, that's the cool thing is it can scan this huge set of frequencies.
It's like you have a tuner dial with this huge antenna behind it, and you can hear all kind of stuff.
Where do I turn the audio on? Do you see that?
Chrome audio start, top right.
Oh,
Your frequency is over that little thing there. Yeah, that thing.
Not hearing anything.
Usually those dense ones are digital signals.
Not hearing anything.
This has audio on the.
It says this audio is turned on. Oh, it might be. Oh, you know what it might be. Yeah, output device is going out. So let's go to. There we go. So you could.
This is an amateur band, so all that.
They do have labels with Morse code. Those orange labels. Yeah, so they do have like labels. So you're in 7
So I can change the frequency, or I could go to.
And there's some limits on what they can do, and the different red SDRs have different antennas. So you put red SDR on. This has certain antennas for certain bands. The other ones have others. Spend a lot of time just like
Yeah.
jumping around on here.
All right. So I have.
If you learn those buttons, you can decode some of the digital modes.
Yeah.
Remember how to do it offhand, but you can decode like that. It's going over Asia.
Let me plug this guy in, see if he's going to power on. Oh, he did. All right, cool. So, a friend of mine works in cybersecurity, and he just got started in fairly recently. And I was telling him about SDRs, and he's like, "What?" And so he went and bought. This is actually his. I'm borrowing it from him because I thought they were cool, but I didn't feel like I could. Because this one's like $250. But he said that's a work expense. But he got this and brought it over to my house because he wanted to try it out. And I had a wireless security system in my house, and they're like it's in the ISM band at like 400 megahertz. And so I looked in the thing, we found the frequency for it, and then scanned it. And sure enough, we could watch every time you opened a window or door in my house, it would pop up on here. So turn down the volume right now. So you can come in here right now. The frequency set to 915. So I thought it'd be cool if I could capture the transmission from these. Well, it's still on. So if I find, so this is showing here from 915.1 to 916 right there. So if I'm zooming in, all right, there we go. Right there, 915. So yeah, that might be,
Should see a huge spike.
yeah.
If you do a transmit,
Oh, there it is.
yeah, it should be.
Maybe. But so the cool thing about this is, yeah, it can be the anything that's transmitted wirelessly you can find on here. So a while back there was a SpaceX launch that somebody used an RTL SDR or an SDR of some sort, and they captured the telemetry from the SpaceX launch. It wasn't encrypted. They decoded it and they posted it all online. And then the next SpaceX launch was encrypted because they didn't want people decoding it. But yeah, get these, and all you have to do is attach the right kind of antenna to it, and you can view anything with it. It feels like super spy technology, honestly, to be able to do this sort of stuff. But so he was using it. We used it on that the security system in my house, and sure enough, we could see the packet when I opened the window. It's go bloop, and you have the chirp, and then So then we recorded it with the hack RF and played it back, and the security system was like, window open, window open, window open, every time, because it didn't have a rolling code in it. Most of the newer ones have either they're encrypted or they usually have a number that increments, a counter number, so that it sees, I've already got this message, so if you replay it, it doesn't work again. But a few people have used these hack RF devices to, for example, do remote ignition on cars and other things like that, because again, it's all wirelessly transmitted. Most of the cars do have a code that changes each time, so you can't rebroadcast it. But the trick is you have to either capture the signal from far enough away, so someone pushes the button on their key fob from far enough that the car can't hear it, capture it, and then play it back. Or another one I saw was if you can capture the signal and then jam it, which is so the car doesn't see it, and then, because usually they're going to send multiple signals, and so if you capture two and then send the first one but not the second one, then you save the second one, and you can continue to do that. So you can just keep a buffer of unused signals, and you can play them back later or when you want to attack it. But that.
Since you have the one that has transmit, if you try to defeat or jam your security system.
So the security system, what we did instead of jamming it is and actually he used this in a pen test where you go someplace and they have a security system and you just capture one of those packets and you start broadcasting it, spamming them, and they're like, security system's on the Brits, turn it off. He was. I'm not telling anybody his name. I don't think anybody here knows him. But he apparently was at a bank recently doing a pen test and got into the vault. Just walked right in. But before he got into the vault, he found a cabinet that was unlocked that had a bunch of bond certificates, serialized bond certificates. All he had to do is fill them out, and he could have given himself and it's someplace else, county government, and they're like, you're not going to get in this one room here. That's where we keep the voting equipment. That's locked up tight, but go everywhere else so let us know where you can get. Turned out there was a door on the outside of the building that went into the voting equipment room that wasn't locked. It's crazy. Anyway, I think I'm being flashed that I need to stop. So probably a good idea. I'll just keep talking all night. Cool stuff. Actually, I have this too, but I didn't get into that. Flipper Zero. It's got an SDR in it as well, but it's a limited range. All right. Thank you very much. Hopefully some of this was fun and exciting. And if you do want to get in on fabbing some parts, just let me know and maybe we'll do that. Okay. Thank you very much. I couldn't see it. I didn't have my glasses on, but it was a good time to stop. And I'll just keep going all night.
Thanks for sharing your toys.
Absolutely.
How's it going, Jim?
Good.
I always like your outfits.
Thank you.
So you made a comment about looking for work. Is it the Delphi thing not going?
So the company I started, we just, in the U.S., weren't getting enough business. It looked like we were going to at the start of the year, but then it just kind of petered out. So I'm not sure why that is. I've had a lot of other contacts for wanting to contract consult me directly, but just not anybody that wanted to retain my consulting company.